the show. It's time for us to choose substance over spectacle. Why? We need to stop this because we live, I believe, in the most overperformed era in human history. What do I mean by that? I mean that everyone, it seems like almost everyone has some sort of platform. There are highlight reels everywhere. Everyone, so many people right now are focused on building their brand, right? A lot of platforms, a lot of highlights, a lot of branding going on right now. It's very, very performative. And somewhere in all of that noise, the church looked around and thought, we should do that too. So what do? We went out and got better lights, sharper graphics, tighter production. And don't get me wrong, some of that is good. You know, trying to level up, step up your game, leveling up your game. That's good. There's nothing wrong with wanting to, enrich and become better in quality. Excellence honors God when it's done with the right motive. Excellence honors God with the right motives. But somewhere between the excellence and the aesthetic, some of us traded our substance for spectacle. The world is starving for something right now. And I don't think the world is starving. It's not groaning. It's not moaning for a better show. They've seen every show. They can stream better productions than most of us can afford. But what is increasingly more difficult to find today anywhere is something real. Spectacle is anything that is designed primarily to be seen. And in our case, it is the version of faith. It is the version of leadership that is most concerned with how it registers, how it reads, how it lands in the room. Spectacle is not always wrong. We have to be mindful of how we show up. Presence matters. But spectacle becomes dangerous the moment it becomes the goal. The moment we are more concerned with the optics of what we are doing than the actual work of our doing. Spectacle is really loud. Spectacle is visible. Spectacle, get this, needs an audience to exist. If you take away the crowd, the spectacle has nowhere to go. It has no reason to be. Spectacle needs to be seen. It needs to be noticed. It needs to be visible. It needs to be loud. Because if you take away the attention, is no reason for it to exist. It exists primarily, essentially, for attention. Substance, on the other hand, is anything that does its work whether or not anyone is watching. Spectacle needs a crowd. It needs an audience. Substance does it even when no one else is watching. Substance is the prayer life no one sees. The integrity that you hold when there's no one there holding you accountable. It's the conversation you have with someone who can do nothing for your platform or your brand. It's the commitment that you keep when keeping it costs you something. That's substance. Substance does not need a stage. Substance needs soil. It does not need a stage. It needs soil, somewhere to grow. And here is the tension, and I want you to feel it today. Spectacle and substance can look identical from the outside. They can look the same from the outside, and they can do so for a season. What do I mean? You can be performing and producing. You can be both visible and empty. You can fill a room and be hollow inside at the same time. And that can happen, right? That can happen for a season. But time reveals the difference between the spectacle and the substance. Time reveals the difference. Pressure reveals the difference. And get this, the people closest to you and me, they already know the difference. They know the difference between our spectacle, what's spectacle, and what's substance amongst us. So let's go back to what Jesus said in Matthew 5:13. Notice what Jesus didn't say. He did not say, "You are the spotlight of the world." Nor did he say, "You are the stage of the world." What did he say? He said, "You are the salt of the earth." And get this, salt doesn't need to be spectacle. Salt doesn't perform. Salt penetrates. It doesn't announce itself. It just works. Salt doesn't need an audience, an applauding audience to do its job. All salt needs is to be present and potent, real. Because Jesus says this thing that stops us cold. He says, but if that salt loses its saltiness, what good is it? What is it good for? And he says it's good for nothing except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. And this is what we've been talking about all week. Salt that loses its saltiness is not dangerous. It's not evil. You're not dangerous because you lose your edge, because you lose your flavor, because you lose your seasoning, because you lose your distinctiveness. You're not dangerous. You're not evil. You're just irrelevant. Good for nothing. I believe it's the gradual, seductive drift from substance to spectacle, where we drift and drift and drift away from what really matters until we are present everywhere in the world, but we're penetrating nowhere. We're ever present, but we're impotent. This is what when we drift, we're drifting from substance to spectacle as a church. And we get to the place where we are loud and irrelevant at the same time, where the show is running, but our salt has lost its flavor. And someone needs to stop this show. When we're really actually walking in it, our substance is Jesus Christ. Not our version of him. Oh, he gets us. Not our version of him cleaned up for the platform. Him, Jesus, the one who was crucified, who died, who was buried, who was raised from the dead, and who's present, who's working in our ordinary, unglamorous, unposted, ugly moments. That Jesus. That's the salt that does not lose its flavor. That's the influence that does not expire. That's the legacy that the generation behind us can actually stand on. Get this, someone after you is looking to you. They're not looking for your best performance. They're looking for our real life. They need to see us go through something and come out with our faith intact. That's substance. They need to see us stay committed when it costs us everything, because that is substance, it's character. They need to see us love people who are hard to love. They need to see us tell the truth when the truth is inconvenient. They need to see us continuing to show up when nobody is there to watch. Because that, my friend, is substance. That is the salt that doesn't lose its flavor. That is the influence that outlasts this moment. That's the legacy, glory be to God, that the next generation can actually stand on. Friends, we got to be real, we got to be rooted, and we got to be ready. Put that in the chat. Real, rooted, ready. Are you real? Are you rooted? Are you ready? Not for the camera, not for the crowd, not because circumstances are right, but are you real, rooted, and ready? Because you know you need to be salty, because someone after you, they're looking to you. And what you give them, whether it's spectacle or substance, will shape what they become. I pray that we choose substance, that we be salty to the glory of God.